Hi, I'm Amy from Trees Not Tees. We offer runners the choice to turn down the finisher's tee and plant a tree instead. Today we are talking to Lucy Stanfield. Lucy is an ultra runner, circular economy analyst at the University of Edinburgh, and founder of Unwrapped Bars. Hi, Lucy.
Hello, Amy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Can we start with circular economy? Could you tell us a bit about what that means, please?
Yeah, certainly. So it's essentially a concept where we see value in everything and nothing is wasted. So that doesn't mean that nothing is ever thrown away, but it means that we truly value the parts that make up the product. So when they're no longer fit for purpose for the original design of that product, they are repaired, reused into something else, remade. Recycled is the very last step, but never wasted, because we understand that there is value, there is energy in those resources, and that they shouldn't just be kind of taken from the ground, made into something and thrown away. It's quite an old concept. It's kind of harks back to the make, do and mend type attitude that we used to have, but it's kind of seen a real resurgence recently.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So you've recently launched Unwrapped Bars. Could you tell us a bit about how your company model fits into that sort of circular economy idea?
Yeah, so Unwrapped Bars was really born out of a frustration that I found with energy bars that I was using for my running, all in plastic wrapping, often unrecyclable. And even where they were in compostable packaging, which is good, it still takes a very long time for something to truly compost and to truly kind of be broken back down into valuable resources. So I started to think about, is there a completely different model? And I kind of got inspiration from the idea of having milk delivered in glass bottles, and then those glass bottles taken away and washed and reused. And I thought, can we apply something like that? So I came up with the idea of having a refillable energy bar, which uses reusable packaging. And I played around with different types of packaging and landed on a beeswax wrap. Tested it out last summer with a bunch of different athletes across the UK, got all the feedback, kind of incorporated that into the product. And then, launched just a couple of weeks ago. And the uptake so far has been really positive. And it seems like it's something that people have been really looking for.
Absolutely. So how does that work then with so you get your bars in their beeswax wrappers?
Yep. So you can order a box, and we have two models. So we have just a kind of one-off box or a subscription model. But in either case, you get a box of bars and they come in the wrapping. You enjoy the bars. You can hold on to the wrappers and reuse them for whatever you want yourself. But also every box includes a pre-stamped envelope. So you send the wrappers back to me. That's all numbered. So you send the wrappers back, and if you order another box, or if you're on the subscription model, then they get refilled with a new bar and sent back to you. So you get your own ones back. The wrappers can be refreshed in the oven when they start to get a bit old, but they can last for years and years if they're treated properly. And again, at the end of their life, they are recyclable and compostable as well. So it's really about trying to avoid that single use and having something that's multiple uses.
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic. Okay. Oh, yes, I did have another question about the bars. What are the bars themselves like?
Yeah, so they're kind of based on the humble flapjack, humble yet powerful. So they're an upgraded flapjack, essentially. They're full of nuts and fruit. They're gluten-free. I'm a celiac. So again, that was part of it. I wanted to create something that was completely gluten-free. They're vegan. So that's what they are at the moment. I do have plans to create kind of different versions. I've got a chocolate one up my sleeve, and one without nuts as well. But yeah, that's what we've got at the moment.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So you are a runner yourself. Have you done many sort of formal events and that kind of thing in your own running?
Yep, I do a lot of events, and actually I just got back from doing the Saunders Lakeland Mountain Marathon just last weekend.
Oh, amazing. How did that go?
It was great fun. I was doing it with my dad. It was his first mountain marathon. So I normally do the every year, and I thought I'll do a mountain marathon in the summer, thinking that we'd have good weather, and actually it was a complete washout.
Whereabouts is that? I'm not sure about that race. Whereabouts is that one?
So I think it moves every year, but this year it started in Buttermere, and we kind of were running all over the kind of Honister Fells and around Glaramara and that area. So beautiful part of the world.
How nice to do that with your dad.
Yeah. He got into running a couple of years after I did, and we do a lot together.
Oh, it's lovely. Oh, that's great. But with regards to that and these kind of formal events, what are your views on Trees Not Tees and what we're trying to do?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. I usually would avoid a t-shirt anyway, primarily because they never fit. They're never women specific. So I often would just end up, as you do, you get a free t-shirt, you chuck it in a drawer and you never wear it except to maybe paint the house in. So I would always avoid it if possible. So the idea that I could select not just to avoid it, but to kind of actually do something positive with it as well, I think it's fantastic. It's similar to what I'm trying to do with Unwrapped Bars. It's just about that mindset change, that you don't have to kind of have a single use item or have something just for the sake of it and it gets thrown away. And it's about rethinking the value of things and we have enough things, and can we avoid that?
Creating more things, absolutely. So in your own running, is there anything, obviously you've done this amazing thing by creating these bars, is there any other things that you've done, any other steps you've taken in your own running to be more sustainable?
One of the things that I hark on about is shoes, because there's currently, not that I'm aware of, any good way to reuse or recycle a shoe. And there are a couple of companies that are slightly more sustainable, but on the whole, running shoes is a really big problem. And I think part of the problem is that we are told that we can only run 300 miles in them. In my experience, and I run on really tricky terrain, muddy, rocky, a lot of miles, and in my experience I can run in shoes for 1,000+ miles and they last me a really long time. So that's one thing that I'm really quite vocal about, is trying to just think about treating your shoes better so that they'll last longer, because there isn't a good alternative. So that's something that I try to do. But again, I think it's just having a mindset that you don't have to do things just because that's how they've always been done. You don't have to have the latest shiny new gear. You can buy from companies or organizations like Rerun, I'm sure you know about as well, and just slightly having that mindset shift, and then talking about it to get other people to change their mind as well,
to think about it too. Absolutely. And on a sort of wider level, in the running events industry as a whole, what would you really like to see happening there?
I'd love to see just more events, particularly the ones that are in kind of hilly areas like fell runs and ultra runs. Just think about the impact that they're having on the environment that we all love. We're running in these areas because we love them. And so we shouldn't, it just seems awful to me that the events that we're doing would have a negative impact. So things like, can you do an environmental impact assessment before and after the event, which I know that the mountain marathons do? Can you give people discounts if they car share, if they get public transport? Can you provide bicycle locks? Can you obviously partner with people like yourselves? What kind of food are you offering? Can you offer just vegetarian or vegan food? There's so many things that events can do. And I think it's just, often it doesn't seem very obvious, or it might seem that people would be put off by it. But I think in our experience, certainly mine through Unwrapped Bars so far, has been that the opposite is true, and that people want that. And I think there's a big shift towards wanting to buy from and kind of be involved with organizations that are sustainable. And so I think it would only be a positive for events to think about that a lot more.
Yeah, I completely agree. Absolutely. Okay, so just back on your personal running level, you've just done this big event. Have you got any huge ambitions, any running ambitions that you haven't completed yet?
So many.
Tell me a few.
My next thing is I want to do the Dragon's Back next year. So kind of a multi-day event, and then building up to doing like the Ramsey Round is my goal in the next couple of years. So I moved back to Scotland a couple of years ago, so just kind of refamiliarizing myself with the area and building up to doing that round. So that's my big goal.
Oh well, good luck. Huge challenge.
And hopefully doing it in a kind of non-wasteful way, in a no single use way.
Yes, in the sort of most low impact way possible.
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, thank you ever so much for taking the time to talk to us.
It's lovely to speak to you, and thanks for having me on.